What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I have Branko and Bolding. These are two cats out of, Sweden and Denmark. I'm not going to tell you which one's which. I'm going to tell you, but you're going to get to hear about that in the next few minutes. So stick around. Two musicians, two different countries coming together. What? All right. That's a little hint of things to come. This week's shows, I have two public shows. So excited. Starting off, oh my goodness, on Friday night, I will be at my usual Friday night gig at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, the video dance party karaoke jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. You get to sing on stage and be a star right there at the Rab, your favorite place to be. Yeah, on Friday nights from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. They got a full bar, kitchen's open, good food. Oh my goodness, the food is good at the Rab. And then they have 10 diamond-style pool tables. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool, they got a pool tournament on Friday nights as well. So much to do. You might make some money playing pool at the Rab. How about that? Crazy, right? All right. Hey, and this week, I start a brand new show, a brand new public show on Saturday night at Mr. Brew's Tap House in Little Rock, Arkansas. Yeah, so stoked. It's a brand new show. And I think they're kind of deciding whether they want to make it family friendly. For the first one, they're going to have it family friendly because it's not only the tap house, it's not only a brewery that has 48 different types of beer, but they also have food. I want to try the burger. It looks so good. I went in there to meet up with the nice ladies that run the place. And at the next table, this guy was eating a burger, and I was like, my mouth is watering just looking at the thing. So I'm stoked to be at Mr. Brew's Tap House for a video dance party karaoke jam. Bring everybody to Little Rock, Arkansas, Mr. Brew's Tap House from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. We're going to have a good time. It's the first time there, and they're going to do it every Saturday night. Every Saturday night, it's your new stop at Mr. Brew's Tap House, Little Rock, Arkansas, 6 to 10 with yours truly. Good times. So stoked to have two public shows every week from now to the end of time, hopefully. So Friday night at the Rab, 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM, and then Saturday, brand new show, Mr. Brew's Tap House, Little Rock, Arkansas. Come on out. Come play with me. Come find me. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Branko and Bolding. Which one's in Denmark? Which one's in Sweden? Well, they're both in one spot. And I got them on Zoom, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN. Zooming Branko and Bolding now.
Oh, you can hear us?
Look at those good-looking blokes on my screen. Oh, man. You came to play. This is a podcast. I wasn't even expecting to get some musicianship out of the Branko and Bolding on my screen.
Yes.
What's happening?
Well, we just came back from the cemetery.
Yeah.
This is
My
just
goodness,
seen that.
who died, man? Who died?
Well, we just got the feeling of blues. That's why we went to the cemetery.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. I heard disco was dead, and I heard rock and roll was dead. But
We saw the tombstone, yeah.
yeah, but tell me, did you visit any particular tombstones? Is there a particular person that you want to visit? Did you see any very, very old grave sites? Because
there are some grave sites down there that are notable. We've got a bunch of Danish artists and politicians throughout the years have been buried at that particular site in southwestern Copenhagen. If the history of the place is of any interest, then you can trace the old city walls throughout that whole cemetery. It used to be that the cemetery was founded back when Copenhagen still had city walls enclosing the old center and moats around that. And so beyond the moat, you would have this cemetery. And as, the Napoleonic Wars were a thing, and the British bombed Copenhagen's harbour because of trade alignments, and the British got a bit prissy over that. And they didn't like the Danish Navy existing. Then basically half the city burned to the ground. It was recognized as one of the first terror bombings in world history. And
it was.
Yeah. And when they rebuilt the city, they decided the walls were to be a thing of the past, because otherwise you just end up with slums and everything. So the city was allowed to sprawl. And it was also recognized that basically when you sprawl the city outwards, we don't want to lose the sense of green space that existed. So basically it was turned into a cemetery/park. So it's actually more than just a cemetery these days. It's a place full of atmosphere and also grave sites, and then the remnants of an old city wall that no longer is.
See, I appreciate this. I appreciate this so much. This is primarily a learning podcast. When I first started this the What Makes You Famous podcast, I wanted to learn from people. And here I have some people from Copenhagen, a place that I've never been to.
I'm from Sweden, by the way.
Oh, okay. All right. So
I'm Swedish. I just go over here with a train like 45 minutes, and then Matt tells me everything. It's like, yeah, why not?
Yeah. Just going. I mean, you're from Malmö.
Yes, I am.
Which is essentially a sister city to Copenhagen at the end of the day. So it's basically on either side of this strip of water that is now connected by the Øresund Bridge.
Yeah.
Well, just like most Americans, I have no sense of geography in that part of the world. I can look at a globe, I can look at a map, and I can see it then. But right now I'm getting an idea that, okay, you're in two different countries and you're so close together.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. And we're able to do it. It's like, I mean, there are people who have a lot of connection between, say, Minneapolis and Chicago, for instance. Malmö and Copenhagen are closer than that. It's a 40-minute train trip.
Yeah, what I've seen is sometimes on the borders, there's bars and different establishments that are right on the border, and the borders are so open between your two countries. They will. There was one bar that I saw that there's no drinking allowed in this city, in this other country, and then they have to leave their drink as they go to the restroom. And then they have to pick their drink up as they go back out, because there's a border that goes straight through this bar. Have you ever been to such a place?
Not personally, but they do exist. I mean, you've got all sorts of funky little things throughout the Schengen area, as it's called. And that includes everything from Norway to Italy. And you've got all sorts of micro states in between. Like you've got, and places where borders meet, you've got towns that are like, you've got a town which basically sits on the intersection between the border of Luxembourg, France, and no, not Luxembourg and France, but Belgium, France, and Germany. All three countries represented by each side of this little town of like a couple of tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
I love this world of funky little things, and I'm getting funky little things from your side of the planet, from your part of this, your corner of the globe. See, I like that term, corner of the globe, especially since the flat earthers came around. But I know, there's corners, there's circles. Okay, but.
It's a disc in there somewhere. Imagines to be. It's a bit weird, but we'll go with it.
All right, I know you didn't expect when you got on this podcast, on this interview, that you were going to be hit with flat Earth. No, I'm no flat Earth. I'm no flat Earther.
That's good at least.
I feel the globe of it all, but I do like conspiracy theories. Good. I do like that portion of it. But we haven't even established who you are. For people listening to the audio version of this, they don't even know which one's Mads and which one's Branko. And I guess it's
all in the dark.
It's Branko and Mads Bolding. So it's Branko and Bolding is the name of the duo. And do you always operate as a duo when you're doing your club gigs, or do you have more people in the band?
So far, we have been this duo for all of our gigs. We do have the desire to expand, and exactly how we do that is still up for debate. To some degree, it might depend on what gigs we get. If we get a lot of gigs in Sweden all of a sudden, we might end up putting together a Swedish band, and then if we get a lot of gigs in Denmark, we might end up putting up a Danish band.
It's like what the guitarist Johnny Bergen likes to say. It's Johnny Bergen, right?
No, go ahead. Educate me.
He's a great guitarist. He comes from Chicago, plays Chicago blues, plays with Tail Dragger and stuff. What he does is he does something called pickup bands. So if he is everywhere in the country, so he just takes the best musicians. So it's like this is like the fundament, like me and Mads here, and then we just pick up musicians. But we have started as a duo first.
Yes.
See, that's the nice thing. That's the nice thing about having educated, seasoned musicians all over this planet. If you are a solo artist, you have the vocals. Yes, you have the ability to sing songs, but you cannot play instruments. You could pick up what they call hired guns all over the planet. Yeah. And I know that back in the 60s, there were only a few bands that were making all the records. And maybe you'd have different singers. Like, for example, the Monkees was a band back in the 60s. And Davy Jones and all the Monkees showed up to the recording studio to make a record. They were a band that was put together by television. A fake band, but then they learned how to play instruments and play together, and they said, hey, we can go make a record. They got to the recording studio, and they said, oh, all we need is the lead singer. We have studio musicians that are going to play the songs. And that's something you run into.
Yeah.
It is.
But how did we start? We have a fun story how we met, if we're just going to go, if you want to know about us also.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, say your name so the people that are listening to the audio can know who's talking at what time.
Yes. So, from Copenhagen, my name is Mads Bolding. Coming to you, I'm a guitar player and singer, and I met this lovely fellow, Branko Bergstrand.
I'm Branko Bergstrand. I'm a Swedish harmonica player from Malmö. So how did we meet?
There is this blues bar in the center of Copenhagen. It's been around for, I don't know how long, 60 years, something like that. And it's a place that still to this day hosts a blues jam every single week. And it so happened that Branko walked into my bar, so to speak.
Yeah, your bar. Yeah, right. Yeah, your bar.
And, we don't know each other, but, there are some people, some cozy stuff going on, all sorts of people. There's also always new people coming to Mojo every week. So you never know who you're going to meet. And you never know who's going to be joining the jam and in what constellations things will be happening. It's all up in the air and guided by the shall we say, as we say in Danish, kapelmester, the band leader in chief, who's called Laust, and he basically puts together bands based on who comes in with what instruments, and so the night progresses by his whims. And I see Branko hit the stage, and Branko sees me hit the stage in various constellations. And each of us just knew, after we'd seen both of us perform, that we needed to be performing together. That night did not do it, but the first thing we did was basically meet up and agree that Branko should come back and sit on this very couch on which we are sitting right now. And that first day we played together, we ended up recording the video versions of like 6 different blues
covers.
Yeah, 6 different blues covers, and that was the beginning of Branko and Bolding.
It was fun because I remember when we went outside, I was going out for a smoke, and I went up to Mads and I said, I like it. I like it. And he's like, oh, well, I like it too. So I was like, because I've been playing around in a bunch, and, you know, Matt's also played around in a bunch. And I was like, there's the first thing when I was like coming here to this couch when we were playing, I was like, it can either happen, like, it can be the most horrible thing or it can be a good thing. So we sat with it. It's true. It's like, and then I sat with him, but like, I connected with him musically and emotionally because this man right here, you know, he plays with a feeling, and we just play. We play that we understand each other.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, somebody. If I'm driving the car, right, then like I know that he can take the driver's wheel and he can like drive more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of us know exactly where we have one another.
Exactly.
Well, your origin story is better than any rom-com meet cute that I've ever heard. And I think you should write it down and at least make a short out of that. But I appreciate that you make music videos. Whenever I do club gigs, I'm a video DJ, and I will put the music videos up. And I'm going to grab a few of these Branko and Bolding videos and put them up this Friday night at the Rab, and maybe even Saturday night over at Mr. Brews in Little Rock. And in Little Rock, Arkansas. Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah, and I have 2 public gigs this week, and I'll be playing some of your music because I think it's fantastic. I appreciate that you make music videos, and you make them old school where they're kind of a live performance video. It's probably the easiest video to make.
I think we may have a frozen frame.
The what?
A frozen DJ.
A frozen DJ?
Oh, well, now you're back. You're back.
Oh, don't worry. The audio is continuing. No problem. Even if the video freezes, no big deal. But
I think it was the Zoom came up with a notification and it said, "Oh, would you like us to show you notifications all the time?"
But were you able to hear me the whole time?
Most of it. But you were from Little Rock, Arkansas, so that's where we got interrupted.
Oh, no worries. But no, I appreciate you taking the time to make music videos, and the easiest music video to make is a live performance video. And I remember when MTV was MTV, rest in peace. I guess they died last year. Yeah. But when they first started in 1981, most of the videos were performance videos like that. Rather than
your glam rock artists that were hitting the stage, and it was a little while until the sort of iconic MTV style music video really took hold. I guess one of the early ones was Dire Straits, Money for Nothing.
Yes, and they even mention MTV right in there. That's I'll let you know, as a radio DJ, the easiest way to get a little bit more airplay is to mention radio or DJ in your song.
And they mentioned radio MTV. Killed the radio show.
Yes, the first song on MTV, and one of my favorite go-to karaoke songs. Video killed the radio star.
Yeah, video killed. Thank you. That's that.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, these are iconic songs. But you. What made you want to play the blues, and do you both come individually from a blues background, or did you come from a totally different place before you came together?
That's an interesting question. I actually don't know your answer to that, Branko, but
I have a longer version actually. So I come from a family who loves music, not musicians, but they have listened to everything. We have something called in Sweden. We have something called dansband. It's like it's like you can like dance along to the music. It's like if you like the style of Jimmy Reed. Honest, I do. For example, like that groove, and you do like basically like stuff around that. So there's a lot of Swedish people that do that. And when I was younger, my parents realized I had musical talent, so I started to play violin at an early age, piano, and saxophone. But when I was younger, I did not like having teachers, for example. I was that little guy that was like, I love fencing with with the fucking fiddle stick and whatever. I'm sorry, is it right if I swear? It's like
If it comes up, it comes up.
all right, and it's like, but then I found the harmonica, and I was so hooked on the harmonica, and I started to listen to harmonica recordings, like Dizzy Gillespie's. That's a saxophone. I think that's him. I don't know, but like Sonny Boy Williamson, the first and second, that old style. And I was playing around in gigs, playing with a rock band, my first rock band, blues band called Free Trim, and we played our own song, and we got that inspired. Then I moved along, and I played everywhere, and got a scholarship for Notodden, Norway, to play with younger and talented musicians from all over the world. This year I was in Pinetop Perkins workshop in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Got a scholarship there. I met some good guys there, like amazing guitarist by the name of Harold Davenport, also known as Young Rel. Ian Matthew Harper, a great drummer, and also a great harmonica player who's my teacher today, called Bob Corritor. So yeah.
Well, that sounds very inspirational, man. You've mentioned at least two different places, iconic places for the blues, because you mentioned Chicago, which is a very different kind of blues than the Mississippi Delta blues. Where do you kind of lean towards? What are your favorite parts? I mean, I like the stop blues, but I'm not limited. I do have times when I just want to put on a blues channel and just listen and just feel and just but the stop blues, I was a little boy, that kind of stop blues. But what's your favorite influence between Mississippi and Chicago or any place else?
Well, so this is a fun thing, because when people tell me this question, I'm always like, there's so many genres in the blues.
Yes.
You have the Memphis blues, the early Memphis, with the old cats like, oh God, I forget the name now, but the Mississippi Cheeks, for example. And you have all of these. You have Memphis blues, you have Chicago blues, and Mississippi blues, and you have all the others. But I would say, like, I really enjoy both Mississippi and Chicago, and also Georgia blues, like Blind Willie McTell and all those guys. And there's something in harmony between the Mississippi. Mississippi is more like the folk singing. It's Lead Belly. It is just that pure emotion. It's Booker White's like raw voice and his way of like playing the guitar. If you're going to Chicago, you have, of course, Little Walter, who plays like a very amazing harmonica, like soulful. Also, I can say Muddy. Also, like, you have all of these guys. So it's a balance for me. But I think that for me, it's like music is music.
All right, I grew up in the 70s. I graduated in 86, but one of my first forays, one of the first places where I got to hear a showcase of blues music, of course, was 1980 when the Blues Brothers came out. And they had so many blues musicians. In fact, Matt Guitar Murphy, years later, I met him in Miami, just coincidentally. But he still, this is in 2005, he had a Blues Brothers hat on, because I said, man, you still wearing your Blues Brothers hat? He says, yeah, that movie was, it changed my whole perspective, changed my world, my life, working with the Blues Brothers. But then they had Ray Charles in there, and they had Aretha Franklin, and everybody had their own little taste of the blues. And even Blues Brothers 2000 kind of even expanded it more. There were country singers that were kind of delving into the blues. And there, so many people have been touched by the blues, like even the Rolling Stones.
Calloway.
Yeah, Cab Calloway, yeah.
Oh, Cab Calloway. Minnie the Moocher is one of my go-to karaoke songs. Video Killed the Radio Stars, another one. But, I know my range is very limited. But if I do get asked to sing a karaoke song, great. I have my go-tos. But having Cab Calloway. But there's so many rock bands are in the blues genre. And I mentioned the Rolling Stones that are still going. They come from the blues. Even the Beatles had little blues come through. Elvis and all these white musicians that took a lot of black music and made it their own, kind of twisted it and turned it and brought it to broader audiences. But I guess the blues did start off with Africans and African Americans and Africans all over the world that kind of gave that music to us.
Yeah, I mean the like blues and jazz is like two sides of the same coin. At least it is for me. And the more I delve personally into both genres, you just realize that they are so. They are so special to the geography and the people that created them, right? It's impossible to imagine blues or jazz existing anywhere outside like the 20th century United States. You can see it exist somewhere else, but when you walk into Mojo Blues Bar in Copenhagen, where you're going to be mentally transported to, it's going to be an equivalent bar somewhere in a Louisiana suburb or somewhere, right?
Exactly, or just like a juke joint down in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
and I've been to some of those places. I know we started off joking about grave sites and graveyards, but Louisiana is one of those places that has those types of places, and that the graveyards that are centuries old, and people have tours through there. And you're talking about jazz; they have jazz parades. It feels like almost every day. Every time I've ever been down there, there is some kind of a parade, whether it's a funeral march or they're celebrating, Saint whatever's day. But that town, especially New Orleans, is a very musical place, and there are those meccas all over the world. You mentioned Memphis and Nashville and Chicago, and hey, I'm learning that Copenhagen has Mojo. And you have your own music scene. You said that you have a blues jam every week. We have a place pretty much just down the street called TC's, and they have a blues jam every Sunday night where the band members of different bands will get together and jam together. You'll have bands from all over the state, and sometimes in other states outside of Arkansas. And they'll all come together. Hey, the drummer from that band, the singer from that band, the guitarist from that band. Now, Branko, you mentioned, are you both classically trained? Because Branko, you got your violin and your key and your piano background, and do you bring all that? Do you whip out that violin at some of your blues shows?
No, I don't actually. Like I need to come back to playing the violin. It's like I am not classically trained, but I have a good ear.
Very good.
And I want to come back into it. But also, before we're giving all cred to the Copenhagen people because of their jams, we also have a jam in Malmö where I started up growing up playing. It's called the Messingshonet, but in English, I always say to the English speakers if they ever come there, it's called the Brass Horn. And, there's a lot of like experienced blues musicians there and like people that play with everybody. I just want to give a shout out to Messingshonet, Brass Horn. So if you're ever down in Malmö, Sweden, want to hear blues, Swedish guys, you either come to Messingshonet or Mojo Blues Bar.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it. You go to certain parts of the world, but music is universal. It crosses every border. I know that I know that politically, well, we're having issues with Denmark. Somehow our government is deciding that they want to pick a fight with with our allies.
You looked at Legoland and you just went, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I mean,
I like Legos. I don't like stepping on them because they hurt my feet. But I've played with Legos. I've had different sets. My friends have had the Death Star set, the Star Wars things. But
just like they should. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my! But I don't get it.
Talk about a merging of cultures, right? You've got you've got American filmography, right? American iconography translated into a thing by a Danish toy company. And isn't that just the most beautiful friendship metaphor you can think of?
No, it's beautiful. It is, and I like the fact that the world gets smaller with the social media, and the fact that I can be listening to you all the way on the other side of the planet. As far as I'm concerned, I know you're not quite on the other side of the planet, but you're far enough away.
Yeah.
And here I am getting to listen to you tell your story, Branko and Bolding. But I got Branko's different instruments. Bolding, what do you play besides that guitar in your lap?
Well, the guitar in my lap is my primary child of joy. So I started out on piano in my early childhood, and I stuck with it for a couple of years, mostly out of habit. And then my mother got the brilliant idea of moving us to Copenhagen, and I sort of took a while to just sort of reorient my reality and figure out what on earth life was going to be like. Going through a period where music was sort of a distant thing in my head. And when finally music started re-emerging as this force for glorious joy that it is, the guitar was what brought it into my life. And I just remember vividly seeing people roughly my age, I was like 15 at the time, playing a guitar, playing basically a cover band for a demonstration at a school that I was going to be going to. And of course they had some music classes on the school as well, and so some of the kids had gotten together a band, and they played some a Danish rock tune that I don't know if the band Dizzy Miss Lizzy, a Beatles reference by the way, if that has crossed the pond in any way. But that was just a formative experience for me. I remember it as clear as day. I just saw a young guy with an Epiphone Les Paul or something like that rocking out on stage, and it spoke to me in a language that I didn't knew I understood before that moment. And it's one of those, we all have those things in life, don't we? Where life seems to speak to us in a way that we didn't realize we understand. And here we are, and life is forever different now because a new facet of life has just opened itself up. And so from then on out, I started on that school, and I took guitar lessons, and and beyond those lessons, I ended up playing like 6 hours a day most time. So despite being relatively late to the party, I have I have never had such an integral change in my life as when I picked up the guitar. And
well, I speak to a lot of musicians and the guitarists in particular, and most of them, and the hundreds that I've spoken to, most of them do not know how to read or write music. They play by ear. It is it's astounding to me. It's mind-blowing, mind-boggling to me that is the case. Most most working musicians, and should I say most of the ones that I've spoken to cannot read or write music. How do you come together and write a song if you don't know how to write music?
Well, for me, writing music means writing words. I see a lot of people saying that, including my own mother, pointing to the mathematics inherent in music and seeing, mathematical brains and musical brains. There tends to be a connection there, and that is true for certain types of music and approaches to music. My approach has always been, I feel at least, more intuitively linked to language. For me, language is the gateway to music because, well, each language has its own music. To me, I learned the English language really early on, and one of the more formative experiences as well of discovering music was also to discover through it the English language and the poetry that it can create. So when Robert Plant sings whatever he's singing, right? It could be Stairway to Heaven, it could be Four Sticks, doesn't matter, right? But he's bringing out poetry in the English language, and my ear latches onto that as much as it does to Jimmy Page's guitar, because I always made the intuitive link between what those things are doing. So, when Jimmy Page is doing and so on, right? And Robert Plant comes in with his like raspy rock angel voice and communicates this essentially a romantic poem. It's all part of the same system. If you change the lyrics of Stairway to Heaven, the guitar part will have to change as well.
I don't know what happened the last time that you played on this, but the AI must have known that I don't have the rights to Stairway to Heaven, so it completely cut it out. It was weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Okay.
But do it. Okay, let's do a fun thing. So transform. Yeah.
For some reason, I don't hear your guitar. It's weird.
No, you don't hear the guitar.
No, it's weird.
You can't hear them now?
Not even a little bit. No.
No, you can't.
It was good when you played it light.
Yeah.
But I can't hear it at all now.
Oh, that's
oh wow, AI.
I guess. And I guess you're right. AI is part of this Zoom, so I guess it knows the music. But you can keep playing. You keep doing what you want.
As long as you can hear, like. You hear this? No.
All I heard was
hold on. Maybe the Zoom has.
It probably has
audio
a noise gate.
No, but the Zoom does have the audio for musicians.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Because I remember this.
Okay. So,
I'm gonna get booted off of YouTube real quick.
Audio for musicians. Let's see.
Maybe
they must have, because I remember I've been in some Zoom calls earlier.
Okay. But then the question is where to find that.
Feck.
Yeah, right. Audio. Hey, it's
Oh, well, all right. I heard that. Boop.
You heard that?
I heard a boop.
You heard a boop? Okay. Well, did it sound like a full chord? Because if not,
it
then
did.
I'm not satisfied.
Okay, to optimize Zoom for music, enable original sound for musicians' audio settings to disable aggressive echo cancellation and noise suppression.
Well, okay, yeah. Browser built-in noise suppression, maybe.
Let's see. Can you play now and see?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if we get something.
Oh, we're learning new things.
Is that? You hear that?
I hear that somewhat.
Okay, good.
So we basically got a less aggressive noise gate from Zoom.
Now we can close off the settings. You hear that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Ain't nobody leaving here without singing the blues.
I know. But maybe we should talk more and then we can play a song together.
Yeah, sure.
Like if it's
Absolutely.
up to you, Mr.
Yeah.
Oh
Keys.
no, this is your podcast. You do what you want. If you want to spread more music, you can. But mostly,
Okay.
I just listen to the stories of how you began. That way, you could tell the next generation. Oh, maybe I can go that path, the path of Branko and Bolding. Maybe I can head that way.
Yeah.
You know, but you're teaching the next generation.
Well, that's a beautiful sentiment. I think the most formative thing that I heard guitar-wise when I started, also speaking to the merging of lyrical and musical beauty, is the work of a certain Mark Knopfler. We talked about Money for Nothing.
Sultans of Swing.
Sultans of Swing. And all that. And there's something approachable about his guitar style that just drew me in from the very first note. And, and he's also, again, steeped in the blues. He has said himself that his music lives where the Mississippi meets the River Tyne, right? Sunbound again. Don't know if I'm gonna make it home. Sunbound again. Don't know if I'm gonna make it home. It's all there, right? It's all it's like it's the old school blues tunes of joy run through the blood of this Georgie lad from Britain, with a finger-picking style that's all his own.
Yeah, but the story of the Sultans of Swing, that particular song, is 1978, a rainy night in London. Mark Knopfler ducks into a pub, and he finds these jazz musicians playing horribly to like three people, and then they say,
"Yes, indeed." Like
we're the Sultans of Swing.
That they called themselves the Sultans of Swing, but they weren't the Sultans of anything.
Yeah, they said we're the Sultans of Swing. Thank you and good night.
That's a fun story.
I love that story, and I love the inspiration of where it came from. What inspires you when you're writing your songs? I haven't been able to go through your entire catalog. Do you also have Swedish songs and Danish songs?
Wait, are you talking to who?
Both of you. Do you have Swedish songs and Danish songs that you sing and play?
I have, yeah. Because a lot of my inspiration comes from a guy from my province in Skåne. His name is Peps Persson. He was a reggae blues artist, and he was a harmonica player. Thank you very much. He sang a lot of songs in Swedish, but it's in the own dialect called skånska. And I grew up with that, and I also knew musicians who played with him. And he gave me inspiration to write my own songs also in my own language. but I mostly sing and play in English, also my own songs. So,
well, do you think the advantage of singing and playing in English is just to broaden the horizons, of have a broader audience rather than staying just in the one country? I know if you wanted to have a really broad audience, you could sing in Chinese because I think there's more of them than anybody, right?
Yeah,
1.3 billion. If they've counted their population correctly.
that's that. No, but I believe it is also like a broader aspect for it, because if you want to make it somewhere, you sing in an international language, and it's also helped me a lot to like sing in English, to like pronunciate more. I took English when I was younger, and like I've always spoken English. So it's like, it's always interesting to like when you're writing lyrics and it's like, oh, I've never heard of this word before. Now I can try to put it in a song.
Yeah, you've been giving me quite a few words that I've never heard before, and I know when I listen back to this, I'm going to be picking out the band leader, Coington, the band leader that you said, and then there's little words that you're teaching me, and I'll be throwing those out for no good reason at shows where people entirely know English. Hey, I learned a new word in Swedish, or I learned a new Danish word. Check it out. But there's been more than two handfuls of songs that are in different languages that have made it to the English, the American Billboard Top 100. I can think of Gangnam Style and Rock Me Amadeus and 99 Luftballons, just off the top of my head, that are
Luftballons.
Yeah, that are sung in totally different languages, but the melody is so good it translates. So I figure if you have, I mean, you mentioned that the poetry of writing a song and the melody, it almost feels like they're equal in equal proportions. If I'm listening to you correctly, Mads, but and do I have that correct, or is the melody more important, or one more important than the other?
To me, music always boils down to the melody. Whether it's the melodic nature of a bass line that provides the groove for a track, or whether it's the lead melody conveying messages, words, all that good stuff. And the lyrics fit in an interesting way because each word has its own rhythm, right? And each singer will enunciate that rhythm a little differently. Phrasing is such a personal thing. So to me, that is really where a lot of the magic lies. And a lot of the beauty in the language is not just from understanding the words. It's not from the lexicality of the language. It's from the prosody of the language. It's from the pronunciation of words, right? If you take, one of my favorite writers of all time is Oscar Wilde. And whenever you pick up a book of his, or a tale, or a play, or a poem, or whatever it is you found, he has written a lot of different stuff, and invariably every page is chock full of these fantastic formulations of language that would sound beautiful even if they were gibberish. I believe you to be the visual personification of absolute perfection. What kind of mad genius for beauty it is to construct a sentence like that, because it's beautiful even if you wouldn't understand it. The visual personification of absolute perfection. It sounds delightful.
Oh yeah, put that to music. But there's, then by the same token, or on the other side of the coin, is Shakespeare making up words. Okay, just like a great rock musician would be making. I've heard so many songs. Womp bop a loo bop a womp bam boo. What is that?
Yep.
You're making up songs, and the intricacies. They don't have to be so complicated. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's a number one hit. What?
And that's a number one hit. And Paul McCartney's old father back in the day when he heard it was like, well, surely it should be, she loves you, yes, yes, yes.
that's not the way we talk. And I know that language evolves. There's new words that I'm learning every day, especially when I do children's parties. I go out, I go DJ for a middle school or and they come up with these words. Hey, can you, skibbly do with my? I'm like, skibbity do, and I have a I have a party that's coming up for a middle school. Don't tell them, but I'm going to tell them. Hey, my boots. I wear some boots where I'm 6'5", but if I wear my other boots, I'm 6'7". 6'7".
And that'll be all over you before you know it. Don't worry,
yeah.
we'll have mercy on you on that one.
Yeah. This is not recorded at all, so
is the new lexicon, as language evolves, does it evolve in your poetry that becomes your songwriting? When you get inspired.
To me, different songs show up in different languages and in different forms, and they tend to feel different. Given that many of my personal immediate influences were Anglophonic, whether it was Mark Knopfler or American artists like B.B. King or whatever, it was all in English. And so a lot of my musical, lyrical vocabulary started out that way. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't write in Danish, and it's something that I've come to appreciate. And when I write a song in Danish, and I have released a couple, I mean, you will notice that it's a different type of language that gets used, and it's a different type of musicality in there. So, I do hope that you'll get to listen to at least a couple of my tunes, and that one of them is in Danish at least, because I think it could be an interesting thing to, perspective to get from you. I know that I do have international streams from my Danish tunes on Spotify and stuff. I do see the analytics, so I'd be most curious to hear what that actually tells you.
Well, I've been told that Spanish is my first language. I come from a half Cuban family. I don't speak Spanish as well as I used to, but I was on a radio station where I had to speak Spanish and English, and I would be thinking in English, but translating it to Spanish, then translating it back into English so I could have it in my head. Do you think in Danish or do you think in English? And same for you. Do you think in Swedish? Do you think in English?
As for me, it's English has been with me so long that my brain flips pretty effortlessly between them, and it really depends on context and ideas. Different ideas might come up in different languages. Different languages might encourage different ideas to me. That's sort of how I've ended up seeing it, because in each language lies a view of the world that we would otherwise have no access to. I've started learning Italian because my girlfriend is Italian, and again, it's a different view of the world contained in this language, and so it will prompt different responses to the same situations depending on what language you have in mind at the time. I find it utterly fascinating.
I do actually agree with you there, Metz, about that. And for my own self, it's like also it depends on what situation I am in. Like, I can be talking to a friend of mine for like hours. I often speak English with Metz because actually, to be honest, I don't understand your Danish.
My West Jutland.
Yeah, you're north. Like, I can understand. Okay, but it's like, so every time when I'm here, like when I'm like coming home, for example, I'm like thinking in English, or like I'm either thinking in Swedish. It depends on what mood you are in, because it's the fun part being creative, because you can even also make a made up language and like talk with that also in your head. And because then when creativity flows like that, then just goes along, and I believe then you understand broader understanding of yourself and also others around you if you have that glint of creativity.
Well, growing up in Miami, Florida, we had many similar backgrounds where we were first generation or second generation, Cubans, but we'd speak English as well. So we came up with our own language, Spanglish. Do you find that when you're talking amongst your friends, that you're sprinkling in both languages?
Well, for me, not as much because I am a translator by training. So I am, in my brain, there is a little bit of a wall between them. And it's not impossible for a phrase to flip-flop between them, but I do tend to make a conscious effort not to.
And also, like a lot of my generation in Sweden, we have Swinglish. It's Swinglish is like the greatest.
The
English, you have that
counterpart over here.
And I know, like at least in Scandinavia, we use a lot of English words. Like at least I know in Swedish, I'm dating a girl now. We often speak English. She's Swedish herself, but sometimes when I forget the word in Swedish, I'll say it in English, and then she translates it and says, "Oh, you mean this?" So it's like also that.
You're so international. My goodness. All right. We have a place called New England here in the United States. And you just mentioned Scandinavia. I don't know what Scandinavia is. Where is it?
Scandinavia is basically, think north of Germany. So you've got this, it's essentially a long peninsula that sits from above the Baltics.
Yeah, but
so you have the Baltic. Okay, so basically you're in Northern Europe. You go to the UK. You know where that is, right?
But is it a country? Is Scandinavia a country?
Scandinavia is a region.
A region. Okay.
It's a region comprising, well, depending on your definition of Scandinavia, and some Swedes might disagree with what I'm about to say, but okay, but it comprises Denmark. Are we still friends? Okay,
go on.
Okay,
go on.
Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland. Those are the main 4 Scandinavian countries.
Yes. Well, Finland, I would not. I would not say. Well, okay. So there's a lot of people that says that Finland is not, but I would say that it's Finland is a part of Scandinavia.
Yes.
I'm happy you didn't bring Iceland though.
All right. The people in Helsinki are very happy with you now.
No, I love my Finnish. That's that thing.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Scandinavia is a peninsula, and Finland is part of that peninsula.
Yes. I've heard so many debates about this. Yeah.
Anyway, but you've got this overarching peninsula that sort of goes around the area that, you've got Eastern Europe going from the Baltic countries through Poland, through Germany, and you also have a landmass separated from that by a bit of water, and they are basically attached to each other through the Eurasian steppe, where you find places like Russia and Ukraine and so on. And so if you go from west to, you start in the UK, in England, and you go east, then you're going to first hit Denmark and Norway, sort of encapsulating the mouth to the Baltic Sea, as it's called, which is the waterway between Scandinavia and continental Europe. And then as you proceed, you get Sweden and Finland.
And where do the Vikings come in?
The Vikings come in
Norway.
Norway,
Denmark, and Sweden.
Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Yeah. But of course, any cultural overlap is a little bit fudgy. Yeah. But we're talking around when the age of raiding, which is where the Viking come from, it means raider, basically. And it was the class of people in Scandinavian society at the time that would venture outwards, initially not to rape and pillage and burn stuff and steal stuff. That came later. First, they were basically traders.
Yes.
And they would sail forth and do that. And then at some point, somebody said, "Hey, there's this monastery over there who have a lot of stuff, and we're not doing too hot over here at the moment. We're having a lot of problems. How about we just send a bunch of young lads over on a boat, and they can have their frustrations let out over all these monks, and we'll come back, and it'll be glorious, and Odin will love us." And that's basically what that was.
The thing also, the most fascinating, if we're talking now Vikings, they were actually like the first explorers. So, for example, they went down first to the Middle East, for example, in Egypt.
Yeah.
And they
to Rome.
Into Rome also. Yeah. So there is actually like some style of graffiti that they have made upon a tomb, I believe, in Egypt, if I'm not correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's like somebody has like done their style of runes.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's
and back to the very, very beginning, when I mentioned conspiracy theories, there's people that think that the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, that they just put their name on it. They said, we found this work of art. Let me put my name on it. Ramses II. Bam.
Okay. Well, I would like to see extraordinary evidence for that extraordinary claim.
Absolutely, and so would I. These are just conspiracies that come through my computer screen and in my reading materials from time to time. And I listen to a lot of podcasts myself. But I'm fascinated that you've almost explained what Scandinavia is, and I will listen back to this 2 and 3 times to figure out where it's at and see if I could find it on a map.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Vikings, the Vikings made it here to North America, apparently.
Yes, they did.
And
Vinland, as they called it. Yeah, Vinland. Basically, a land where wine might be grown. And it was basically a marketing ploy. They had a habit of trying to come up with names that would make people want to go to places. Or the opposite. So Iceland was named by a guy who just wanted to be left alone mostly, and then they went to Greenland and they named it Greenland, but despite having more ice than Iceland, because they wanted people to come join them. And well, how do we get people? I mean, there are two competing claims to Vinland. Either they're referring to an idea, hey, let's have people come here because you might be able to make wine over here, or it's describing a very windy place. I would have to look closer into the etymological history of that.
No, I appreciate that so much. I made a video for TikTok a while back about Odin, and I have Wonder Woman behind me, and she's supposed to be from Hera. So mythology of all different kinds is in my head. Thor was probably was one of my favorite comic books growing up. Was reading the fictionalized Marvel version of Thor, and then I looked into what Thor was. In fact, on one of my streaming services, I was watching a movie from somewhere in your region where this young lad discovered that he was Thor on Earth. And, the people around him, that's Odin. Oh, that's Loki. Oh, that's, the different people around that were, they were just stuck on Earth and didn't know who they were. But I don't even remember the name of the film, but I thought it was fascinating. A great take.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah, I mean, Norse mythology is still very much a thing in Scandinavia, not on a sort of spiritual, religious level, although there are some individuals out there who might subscribe to the paganism of it all. But but it still has a vast cultural footprint. So you will go into jewelry shops and you'll just be able to pick up Thor's hammer and have it around your neck on a necklace, similarly to what Vikings would have done like 1,500 years ago.
Yeah, when I'm feeling cheeky, I'll say Odin, please. Just as an exclamation. It just it makes me feel fun. It's fun. Yeah. But I do appreciate that so much, and I'm learning a little bit about your culture, man. But I know we're here to talk about your music, and I'm learning so much more than I anticipated. And I appreciate Earl Keith for putting us together. He's been chomping at the bit. I've been getting all kinds of messages from him. When can I listen? Can I watch it on YouTube? I said, man, I told him that I record these and I put them out after. That's what I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We got to respect the temporal continuum. Yeah.
And I hardly ever edit anything, so he's going to hear his name when I shout it out just now. But Branko and Bolding, you're fascinating fellows. Tell me about the gigs that you're playing. Do you play normally at home in your area, your neck of the woods, in Scandinavia, if you will, or do you want to take it all over the world?
We have mostly stuck to Malmö and Copenhagen for now. We are trying to branch out a little bit this year, so I've got a lead for that might take us to Jutland, to my native region of Denmark, and I would love to make that a thing, because actually, if you go to Copenhagen, blues is not the main music of the town, but there are places in Jutland that are much more appreciative of the genre on a fundamental level. So I would love to do that.
Yeah, you like. Go ahead.
I'm playing a lot like in my hometown. I've been playing it outside, and I've been playing up in Norway and stuff like that. But now I'm going to the United States again for SPA. It's the preservation of harmonica. So it's a huge harmonica mass they have there, and I would really love just to like me and Matt just like go over to the United States also to like, because I have told him so much when I was in Mississippi. I was like, you gotta come to Mississippi. You need to experience like Memphis and Chicago.
Oh yeah, Chicago is lovely. I have been there.
Yeah, I've been to Chicago. Yeah,
I have been to Chicago.
That's nice.
Well, sometimes it's hard to pick up and go. So you have family and you have other obligations. Most musicians that I talk to, they have day jobs that keep the steady money coming in. I know that you said you're a translator, Mads, and hopefully that's lucrative enough to where you could not have to worry so much about money and be able to do your night job.
Actually, it's not.
Okay.
No. I have been making a not so steady living off of music for the last 3.5 years.
Hey, it's nice. You're taking a bet on yourself. Starving musician is a thing I've heard my whole life. Starving in the front of musicians, starving artist is what you could be. But if your passion takes over, if it's all you can do, I cannot put this guitar down. I have to play. That you have to follow that. And what do your parents think about it when you first started? You said that you came from a musical family that doesn't necessarily play music. You have an appreciation for music. What did they think when you said, "Hey, I'm picking up this guitar and I'm taking it on the road"?
Well, to be honest, I'm sure that I am getting a slightly different message than they occasionally discuss in private. I know my mother, she can worry quite a bit. Any mother would worry, of course. But overall, they're also quite proud that I am following a passion of mine and open to me exploring where it leads. And I know also full well that for myself that it might not be a lifelong gig for me, to be fair, but I'm in a period and a place in my life where it makes sense for me to explore this and to do so to its maximum extent, and so that's what I'm doing.
And Branko?
So myself, I'm a nurse. I'm a certified nurse. So my mom, I wanted actually to go music school. My mom said, it is a sweet idea. My mom's from the Balkans, so it's the very traditional way of like get a job and then you can do other stuff. I work as a caretaker for my brother, so I'm working with that, and I have my music, so I work half time, so I can work half time with that and my brother, and I can do music, and that's been very lucrative for me because I know how to like fix my schedule, and I can go on. So I say this: if the music career would screw me over, I have a job.
Yeah, not
So,
everybody has that freedom to where they have the ability to set their own schedule, and that's a wonderful thing, Branko. That you have some kind of leeway to where you can take a trip to the United States if that's what you wish to do, and see if you could find someone that likes the blues out here. And there's always going to be pockets of people that appreciate what you're doing. I'm one of them. If you ever get out this way, I'll do my very best to get to your show, and in fact, I will work my way around it. I'll give a show away if you make it to Little Rock or Conway, Arkansas. But there's people
that would be amazing.
Oh, there's people that love the blues all over the world, and jazz and rock and pop and me. I have to like a mixture of all of it. If you listen to my radio station that's playing behind me, radiowhat.com, I'm playing all kinds of music because it's what I like. It's what I've grown up with. But from the Blues Brothers and beyond, I have an appreciation for the blues.
Yeah, somebody's playing. You want to play something, baby? I see that your fingers is itching, so I see that.
Well, Mads has not put that guitar down, and it just a lot of times you feel better if you have the tool in your hand. And I've talked to musicians, and they've done that very thing where I can talk without this, but if I have it, it feels better, like a security blanket. Like some kids are putting using animals as a support animal. But if you have that guitar in your hands, if you have that harmonica in your hands, you feel like you got the tools to go do a job, go do a thing. So
that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, all right, man. Let's land this plane. I always finish these things off. I know that I have your show links. Between the two of you, I have your individual links, your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. There's an IMDb for some reason. Branko, are you a movie star?
I actually was once in a movie called Morendo. It was actually made here in Copenhagen, so I actually made some music for it.
Well, I saw that.
I have an IMDb, yeah.
I saw that. I got your threads. Sir Banks are United.
No, Sir Branko is just a thing I made when I was in London when I was a child, so that's why.
We'll have to make some recommendations to the King of Sweden.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have looked some things up. I mean, but then Mads, you got a whole link tree, which is great. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So I got your stuff in the show notes. So I want people to go and find you, especially take a look at your individual YouTubes. And now, is there a YouTube for Branko and Bolding, or is it mostly on one or the other?
We have so far we have actually kept it on my personal YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And that is perhaps more out of habit than any good strategy. But the idea of making a joint venture on that front does have a certain appeal. So I think we'll get into that. That should be a goal for 2026.
Yeah, we should. I also have my YouTube where I have like some songs that you can follow me on Spotify as well. I have like 3 singles out, but this year I might record some stuff with this beautiful gentleman next to me. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, and the rom-com continues. The meet cute has led to something wonderful. Oh, that's great. And I have your YouTube as with your full name and then music at the end. Branko Bergstrand music. So I have that in there so people can find you. But I always finish these things off with last words for the people. Who's the lead singer and who's the lead singer?
Oh, that really depends on the tune, actually, because Branko will sing certain tunes and I will sing others. Of course, we have our original tunes, which we might favor singing respectively. But it's usually, if somebody suggests a song, if they are not very clear about, say, Branko wanting me to sing whatever it is, then usually Branko ends up singing it. But what shall?
What do you want to play, baby?
Well, before you play, I do want you to give last words for the people. And what I was trying to determine was who was going to give the the ultimate last words for the people. But this could be words to live by. This could be something you heard a long time ago, or just whatever pops into your head. But Branko and Bolding, you decide who wants to give the last words for the people, and then tell us what you're going to play and play us out.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, to me, I'll come back to this quote from Mark Knopfler, where my musical journey really took shape. You know, he was a formative songwriter in my life, and he said, "Music will be a friend to you all your life," and that is the truest thing I have ever heard a musician say. There is no way in which music would not be your friend once you have kindled that bond. And to have kindled a blues bond with this blues brother from a Balkan mother is a beautiful privilege upon this earth. And so, I cannot help but request that we go into some muddy waters, shall we?
Which key? We're playing, baby.
I think we'll do this in A major.
All right.
Or A blues.
All right, let's do that. Key of A, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so, are you ready?
Yeah.
Music will be a friend to you all your life. And this bloke over here, he's just sugar sweet. I want to tell you about my baby. Speak of her with pride. She goes out of her way just to make me satisfied. She's my baby. She's my baby. What a treat. Though I can't call her sugar, sugar never was so sweet. Why, I'm not surprised. She served me in bed. She manicured my nails, got the down up on my head. She's my baby. She's my baby. Don't you see? Though I can't call her sugar, sugar never was so sweet. When I say what I want, that's the way it's gonna be. She'll bend over backwards, you know that pleases me. She's my baby, she's my baby, what a treat. Though I can't call her sugar, sugar never was so sweet. Though I can't call her sugar, sugar never was so sweet.
There you have it, party people. Branko and Bolding. Aren't they cool? Aren't they cool? And that's the first time in a long time that they've finished off. I've gotten a show finished off with a great song. They brought out the blues. I could tell that they're musicians, that they just want to play. They want to play for you. And hopefully you're in their town. But one day we're going to get them over here to the States. I know individually they've been here to the United States getting some influence. I think it was Mads Bolding was in Chicago, and then Branko's going to be coming over to the United States as well, probably in the Nashville or the Mississippi area. Yeah, they're getting some more of that blues flavor, that good old American blues flavor, and taking it back home to Scandinavia. Now that I know kind of where Scandinavia is. And Odin, Please by Mjolnir. Mjolnir. How do you pronounce Thor's hammer? Mjolnir. I know that they were playing with it in the Marvel universe. One of the girls kept calling it meow meow. All right, hopefully I don't get struck down by the thunder, the lightning. I was just kidding, Odin. I was just kidding. But I appreciate you so much. You taught me a lot about your area and how you started and where you're at right now and where you want to be. You're going to be recording that good music. And thanks for putting out music videos so I can play them over at the clubs, play them at the Rab and at Mr. Brew House and other places where I play. I get to play some of that good old Branko and Bolding music. Thanks so much for being on the What Makes You Famous podcast. That concludes this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, yes, you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.